Thank you so much for joining me here at Type2Take2. As you know, I have my lovely guest here, Sue Karpinski. She's actually been one of our first guests on the podcast since we started. And so it's like really exciting, and we're glad to have Sue here. Last time she talked about the thyroid and how you can make it work for how to regain your health in that capacity. But now I've got her here for so much more. She's going to dig deep and she's going to share some of her tidbits. So I'm really excited. But before we do that, we're going to get a little bit into metabolic syndrome. So even before we do that, we're going to welcome Sue on. Well, Sue, welcome.
Hi, well, thank you. I'm Danielle. I am so excited to be here and it's to be back actually. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation, sharing what I know. And then I think between the two of us, everybody can learn a lot of gold nuggets today.
I totally agree. I'm so excited because you guys, you probably don't know this, but Sue, she has been like, not my right-hand girl because I don't keep anybody that close. But she has been there for me, like back and forth, left and right. She's always been checking up on me, making sure I'm good. Hey, Danielle, what's going on? And it makes things a lot easier when you're running your own practice, especially when it's by yourself, because it makes you feel like you're not alone. You have that community, and you get it's awesome. So because of that, I just want to firstly thank you so much for being a part of my coaching journey.
Well, I appreciate you as well. I mean, it's always nice to have things to bounce off of one another because, everybody has their own area of expertise. And so it's nice to have a network within your wheelhouse that you can then reach out to as a resource. And you've been a wonderful, wonderful resource. And I appreciate that. And thank you for this opportunity. This is fantastic.
We are here with beautiful Sue, as I mentioned, and she's going to join in and jump in on the metabolic syndrome train with me. And then that's just we're just going to talk a little bit about it, and then we'll probably go a little bit more into it later next week, perhaps on this particular subject. You remember last week we talked about triglycerides. This week it's cholesterol, y'all, and cholesterol is like the brother or the sister or the cousin of triglycerides. What would you call it, Sue?
I would say they're partners. They're kind of like, if you're fighting a war and they're on your same side.
Ooh.
But they work in tandem, because if they're not working together,
yeah,
they can become your enemy. I mean, really.
I like that.
If you think about it, when you're looking at blood sugar, blood sugar, glucose, that converts to your insulin. Then your insulin, not converts to insulin. It triggers your insulin release. Insulin goes up. Then this is repeated over and over again. If it keeps going all the time, then it leads to insulin resistance. And then all of a sudden, because your cells just stop listening, then when that happens, then all that excess gets converted to a triglyceride, which you probably talked about last week. And then when your triglycerides start to be elevated, that then lowers your HDL. In comes that's cholesterol. That's where it steps in. So that's where it's how you kind of fill it all in. And then it also causes then like a dysfunction, like an alteration in actually how the LDL molecules are put together. So it is a big, it's all connected. I mean, it's everything in our body. There is nothing. We're all one big integrated group of molecules. Nothing operates on its own and in its own silo. We just have to always remember that, because so many people take supplements. And I get a question all the time. What supplement can I take for this? What supplement can I take for that? Oh, maybe I have, because vitamin D, everybody's heard about vitamin D and the importance. I'm taking vitamin D, or, oh my gosh, zinc, it's immunity, especially for the last couple of years. So they just start taking zinc, but they don't realize if your zinc levels are too high, then it's going to just pull down your copper. And, so this is where there's the connections, and you have to be able to put those together. So just like with cholesterol, same way. I mean, cholesterol is going to be impacted by your diet, nutrition, sedentary lifestyle. The amount of sunlight you get is going to impact your cholesterol levels. Poor sleep. Yep. Rest, everything. So then, cholesterol is definitely it's a partner with triglycerides, most definitely. And then it all connects right to this nice loop.
Yes.
Depending on how well balanced the body is, it could be a very efficient loop, or it could be a vicious loop. And that's where, and this is where you have to find out where that break is in the loop that's causing, that could lead to that higher cholesterol.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think you all heard her when she's talking about the insulin and how insulin affects and how all of these things get affected. And we also, you know how this is type 2 take 2. So we do talk about diabetes a lot more than we talk a lot about other things. But what you would need to realize is that everything is connected. I think I've said it more and more often than maybe you're probably tired of hearing me say this, guys, but everything is connected. We are one whole piece. It's not just a little bit of this and a little bit of that will make up a beautiful Danielle or Sue, but no, it's all of it together that makes up our whole persons, our whole bodies, our us. And so if we don't treat them all with respect accordingly, then one little thing out of line is going to knock everything else out of alignment. And that's just the way it goes. I mean, I have to say, honestly, you said that very well. You said, well, I don't know, you go ahead, but honestly, you went through the whole process.
Well, and that's where it's really interesting. You made a great point, but when you're talking in your show, you talk all the time about that integration. And that's why it's called integrative medicine. Functional medicine is an integrative approach. It's, it's like, you have to remove the interference. And so, you're looking at root causes, always going back, and then taking that, whether and it's not just physical. We're so always tuned into the physical, but this is stress, and stress can come from good things too. A wedding, a new baby. Okay, then the stress comes from the sleepless nights, and then the poor sleep, that all adds to it. But this is where it is, there's a whole lifestyle design that has to take place, that to bring everything together, because you can take all the best supplements and you can go search on Dr. Google and try all these liver cleanses or detoxes and do all of the saunas, and you can eat 100% organic, take the vitamins to replace your deficiencies. But if you do not have your lifestyle, those factors of sleep, getting outside, getting that sunlight, if you don't take care of working with your thyroid, if you don't take care of your energy, if you don't take care of sleep, is huge. It's like the master switch. It's like shampoo for your whole detox system and your brain. And in the body, it resets. It sets that circadian rhythm, that master clock. I mean, this is where looking at lifestyle is a big factor when it comes to insulin resistance and blood sugar control. All of them, because you have to have all of that, because you can't, if you're just taking supplements and doing the saunas and you're doing, maybe it's the dry brushing, that's just like putting a Band-Aid over top of it. But that wound continues to bleed underneath it, and you're not taking care of the root cause of what's causing the bleed to begin with.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly right, Sue. Oh my word. That's exactly right. I'm really loving this, because it's so easy for us. I get caught up sometimes in trying to do a protocol before I start focusing on what's first things first. First things first. Okay, girl, what does your diet look like? Okay, you ate that thing the other day and you're feeling crappy, but why are you feeling crappy? Oh, that's why.
yeah.
Oh, so you don't need this supplement to make it. No, you just need to let it out. And I know sometimes we just want to feel better, right? I mean,
Right.
There's always a time where we just want to feel better, or we need to feel better so that way we can be active or do the thing that we need to do, because we have the expectations that are placed upon us for us to accomplish what we're supposed to accomplish. But at some point, there's got to be some kind of, I'm just going to take care of myself, and whatever else comes is just gonna have to wait, right? Am I right about that?
Right. And this is where too, so many people, when they're looking at it, they look at, I feel like this, I have this symptom and this symptom. Then they start to do some research of their own, and then think of, okay, oh, I might have this and I might have this. And then it gets to be so overwhelming that it actually paralyzes them. And then they do nothing and say, then say, oh, well, why bother? This is just the way I'm going to be. And say, nope, I'm just going to just stay where I'm at until you get to such the lowest point. Then when you're feeling really like crud, then finally it's like, I'm going to decide to do something. But the overwhelm can be so simple and really easily removed by just breaking it down. So when you think of like those dimensions of wellness and you're looking at lifestyle, it's it's your life. You look at lifestyle. Well, what is lifestyle? It's the social. Are you connected? Do you have relationships with family, with friends, in the community? Are you connected? Or are you just feeling, otherwise you feel isolation, that leads to your emotional health. And you're looking at the physical health. I mean, it's like I've found, especially with women as they get older in the 40s and 50s, those same workouts you did in your 20s and 30s will not serve you when you're in your 50s. That high intensity, beat yourself up type of thing does not serve you well, because your hormones are changing and your body's changing. So you have to change in what you're doing. And so when you're looking at all of it, it's your work, it's your career, it's your family. You're looking at all of the dimensions that make up wellness, all of those. I'm sure some of your people have talk about, I'm sure you talked about the wellness wheel, or it's related to like all the components of wellness. Ooh, all of those combined. So I like to
hold on, because you're throwing out some nuggets. Just a second now, I don't think they're ready for that. We're gonna go ahead, you guys. We talked about cholesterol, and I think even within this small portion of us speaking about cholesterol, that it made such a big difference. And right away, information is there. If you didn't understand, go back to it and listen, because this is awesome. And really, I didn't have to say a word. I just sat here and but Sue is serving it up.
I have a program, and I definitely work on all the areas of the wellness and of person's wellness and working them through it, because and it's a step-by-step approach. It's a plan that really, and it, like I said, to accelerate that by removing that interference and accelerating that process to get you where you're working on your emotional, the spiritual, and the physical aspects, and rebalancing, getting to the point where understanding how all of those, that interplay then plays into how you're feeling, because how you feel is going to, because what you think you will do.
Yes.
So if you think you can't do something, you're right, you can't. But if you think you can do something, you can. And that's where that mindset, we're going to touch on that.
That's great. When we were talking about cholesterol and triglycerides, because as we know now, I think we all have come to the conclusion or the understanding that there are metabolic syndromes. I've mentioned it many times, and I've done a breakdown with my listeners about what metabolic syndromes are. And now, since we're like going into like one by one, we're carving a little bit deeper so that way people can understand how those metabolic syndrome can actually affect your whole body wellness, which is obviously can also lead to how it affects your blood sugar levels. And I just want to bring that point home, that as Sue mentioned, especially with triglycerides and as well as cholesterol is what helps to create your hormones. You need the cholesterol, but you don't want your cholesterol to be constantly in a chronic state of height, which would be in the LDL format. And lipoprotein, it's great. It's low density. It's awesome. It serves its purpose. It's for inflammation. Am I right?
Right, because the LDL, yeah, it's your transporter of your fat soluble nutrients. So like cholesterol, people think of cholesterol and they think of, oh my gosh, it's bad. And it is not bad. It is like it's the structure that your body, it's a critical element that you need. It's critical for the structural element for your cells. You need to have it. And so when you're looking at LDL, HDL, and they serve a purpose. It's when you get to the VLDL, they carry the VLDL, are that's that very low density. They carry the triglycerides. And then you have the HDL, which is usually H for, think of it as healthy, or your healthy, your happy cholesterol. I mean, it's like the street sweeper that comes along, and then it's the collector of the LDL. And then, so when you're thinking about cholesterol, thinking of your body, it's like the green, like the clean sweeper. Then it puts it into a nice little bucket, and it puts it back, brings it back down to the liver. It carries over throughout your bloodstream, then brings it back into the liver. The liver then repackages it, and then to excrete it. Yes. And so that's why having a good, healthy daily poop is so important. And so many people are afraid to talk about it, but you need to have a bowel movement every day. You really do, because there's a lot happening in that liver and in your body, and you need to excrete that and get rid of it. Otherwise, like especially with estrogens and things that don't get packaged and toxins that get released and get packaged for excreting, your body will reabsorb that. And so that's why on my program, I talk about sleep. Food, mood, and poop are the things they journal. And because it's that important and it's needed. And so, because looking at LDL is it's just a different particle size. It's a low density, and so it has an effect, and it works with your thyroid. Your low thyroid function can impact your LDL because it works in with the T3 conversion, and then if you don't have that, and then the LDL doesn't stick to that receptor site. That's how I'm going to say it. I'm trying to think of an easy way to say it, but and so then when the LDL doesn't sticks to that receptor site, if it doesn't stick, it can't drop off those fat soluble nutrients. Yes. Your vitamin A, your vitamin D, E, and K, they carry in through the LDL, and that's how your body then gets it into the cells in order to use it. Just because you eat something doesn't mean, you absorb it into your blood and boom, and magically it gets into the cell. There's a lot of processes that go on, a lot of enzymes that come into play, and a lot of other mediators and precursors that come in that actually make it in its usable form that you can use it. And so that's why it's always important to, cholesterol is important. You do need it. It's a building block for your vitamin D, and that's where it's important too, where sunshine comes in. Why it's important for the sunshine, because sunshine helps convert. There's a compound that converts this compound. Sunshine helps it convert it to vitamin D instead of converting it to cholesterol. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's really, really important to make sure that we have the cholesterol. You need it. Your body needs it. You can't. You'd kind of clump. It'd be like a wet noodle. You just kind of just collapse without cholesterol because you need that for its structure.
Absolutely, I can't agree more. And as a matter of fact, sitting here listening to you, I learned more. I honestly did. I won't even lie because I know I don't know everything, and I'm always glad to sit underneath somebody's feet and listen and learn. And because believe me, I'm gonna be taking notes after this. But also, I wanted to make sure that because as you mentioned, cholesterol is not a bad thing, and a lot of people would just just kill it. Just, oh no, I have high cholesterol. No, that's not what I want. That's not what I need. Everything in the world says no, bad cholesterol. Cholesterol bad. Cholesterol, no, don't do it. But as you already said, it is a precursor to so many different hormones that need to be created.
Right, exactly.
And furthermore, one of the things that I really think about is how LDL is the firefighter, if you will. I've heard this analogy so many times. One of my favorite health people, that LDL is a firefighter. It comes through. Yeah, it's chronic, but it's coming to save the day. There's something else going on. The cholesterol comes through. It spreads itself out to heal a wound, an infection, a disease, whatever the case is. Yeah, the cholesterol goes higher because it accumulates, so that way it can cover up those, if you want to call it, potholes, if you will, of the damage that has been done. And then once the damage is done and the cholesterol is collected, or the cholesterol is there, then the HDL, which is why we always want that a bit higher, comes through to sweep it out, like you said, like a sweeper. Right. And I love that. I think that's just so amazing because, it's just,
I like what you said about the LDL and being like a firefighter, or like a paramedic in a way, Indeed. So yeah, and this is where, and it's and it goes back to it. Everything has its purpose. Everything has it's all about the balance. And it's when things get out of balance.
Yes.
We have to look at things.
Exactly. And so when the cholesterol is out of balance and the cholesterol is higher, just as you mentioned, the problem with cholesterol being so high, LDL, we should say, because HDL, the happy one, we kind of don't see that so much of it being too high. The low density, we kind of see that as high, when it gets higher. And once it starts to accumulate, there's calcium that can also accumulate. Then people get concerned. There's heart strokes and all types of things that can take effect. And honestly, it's still, no matter which way you turn, it affects the blood sugar because the stress level starts to increase once again. The stress level increases, the body cortisol is released, and it go ahead and releases the
Yep.
glucocorticoids. Glucocorticoids are released. What is released? Glucagon is released. Glucose, friends, glucose. The sugar that has been stored in your cells is released and out to play back in your blood, so that way it can calm down your mess, your stress. It's trying,
Right.
the body just wants to help you, but it all leads to the same thing: higher blood sugar, consistent high, chronic high blood sugar, whatever the inflammation may be. It winds itself up, and then you have this high blood sugar to happen, to be right there with it. And
Right.
that's where it's unfortunate.
Right. And that's where you talk about, like the cortisol release. And that's it's stress.
Yeah.
And so many times we think of stress. Oh, I don't have stress.
Yeah.
I don't have stress. And well, you think about our culture right now in American culture. It's like this, we all have to wear this badge of honor that we're always doing, always doing, always doing, always on the go.
Yes.
And so you get up in the morning. Cortisol naturally rises.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, if you get up to an alarm clock, it really goes off, because now it's like, boom. I'll say, like this morning, I was really in a slumber, and my husband comes into bed and he goes, "Aren't you getting up today?" I was like a half hour late. I'm like, wow. And I just quick jump out of bed. I'm like, no, wait a minute. I'm just going to stay here, first of all. And my first thing is, I have gratitude for the good night's sleep. And then I was actually sleeping so well that I was like, that I don't set an alarm. I use him as my alarm.
Yeah.
But then what happens then is, if you have a family, then all of a sudden you're rushing and you go to work. You have to get quick. I have to get ready for work. I got to quick make my lunch, and then I got to get the family ready, get the kids off to school. Oh, they're going to be late for the bus, or I got to drop them off at school. Then you hit into traffic. You hit a stoplight. All those things are just each time hitting that cortisol, spiking it. Your body never has a chance to really calm back down, to bring it back down. I read somewhere, and I wish I would have made note of it and really documented it. But if you hit a high stress event, like a death in the family,
Yes.
or you experience a job loss or a serious injury, your body can hang on to that stress for 2 months.
Oh, good night.
So that is why. So that's why it's always I always stress the importance of getting the body into that parasympathetic. That's the state where, because a lot of people are worried about they want to lose weight. I say, first thing I'll ask them, do you want to lose weight or do you want to lose fat? There's a difference.
There is a difference.
And this is where most people obviously want the fat loss, because without with the fat loss, then you don't have the decrease in estrogen and everything else, and then all the other dangers that can come with the health risks that come with excess fat. But really, when you're looking at that point of it, it's just that, when you're looking at all these stressors that your body hangs on to, and you cannot, people want, the biggest thing is they want to lose that fat.
Yes.
It's not going to happen if you're in this constant sympathetic state, that stress state, because that elevates everything, and it ultimately goes right back to the blood sugar. I know you've touched on that and I'm sure your audience knows that, because when those stressors, it's always that cortisol every time you get those stressors. And why does it do that? Why does the body release the cortisol? Why? Because it's like way back when you're used to forage for food, used to forage in the jungle, not the gentle woods and nature and parks that we have now. We used to forage through the jungle, and you're chasing lions and tigers, and you're after them. Yes. And then they can come after you. And when they come after you, what needs to happen? That body needs to spring into action. What happens? It shuts down digestion. It shuts down what's not needed. Yes. And gives you that immediate response. What's going to give you that immediate energy? Glucose. That's why it goes up quick. And it goes up, and then your body responds. I just love how you were explaining how the cortisol, how it affects everything with the blood sugar, and then how you also. But look, wait. I'm going to talk about, because I talk about cortisol all the time, Sue, and I am not throwing what your knowledge underneath the bus, but I know that what you're going to say that's going to connect everything together is going to make it it's going to make it fantastic. So I wanted to say fantabulous and fantastic. So I like fantabulous. I use fantabulous all the time because with cortisol, it is just it's a vicious circle. It really is. And it can undo so many good things.
Exactly. And that's what we want. We work so hard, right, to get our health back on
Right.
track the way it's supposed to be. We do the things, we finally we eat the meal plan that works for us. We do all the exercises that are supposed to work for us. Maybe we go a little too far. Maybe we don't get enough sleep. Maybe we start, hiding or sucking in our emotions as opposed to letting them out. And then that all starts to, take an effect, take
Yep.
a heavy role, right?
Right. And one thing to remember too is with stress. You can't avoid it. It is it's part of everybody's daily life. And it's what makes it, can be detrimental for somebody's health is really how you choose to respond to it. So if you're running late for work and now you hit every single red light along the way, and you just start to get irritated and you start to feel your heart rate start to rise a little bit. And then all of a sudden you feel like you're pushing your other foot into the floorboard of in the car. Those are those responses. That's a stress response. And that's adding it on top of it and adding it on top of it. Because now you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be punching in late. You have to punch a clock, or how am I going to explain this? And then you're thinking, and then you feel that rush all day long. If you don't take a deep breath. I'm not kidding you. 3 deep breaths can do wonders to reset the body. Simply just pausing. So when you hit that stoplight, okay, you can't change it. You can't. You can't will it to change any faster. It's going to happen. So just lean back a little bit and use that time. Say, okay, here's my 3-minute meditation.
Ooh.
And just and do that and accept it. So that's what it is. It's about accepting the situation and then say, okay, I'm going to work through it. Or stress of a workout. Workouts can be great. You hit a workout and then you hit this little bit more of a stress and a little bit more of a stress. But when you work through it, your body becomes used to that stress. And then it's like, okay, it creates this hormetic response, that physical. So that's why you can work. So think of lifting a weight. It's really hard. And it's really hard and you can't lift it. I can only lift this weight 10 times. But after a while, it becomes really easy. You can do 6 reps, 10 reps, you can do 20. You've created this hormetic response, this adaptation to the stress. I always like to look at stress and resiliency like a bouncing ball. What happens is the ball hits the ground, boom, there's its stress, but it bounces back right to you. And you have that chance to now reset and bringing that body back. And that's why the deep breathing, and that's why, it's so important, because stress is, in my book, one of the number one things that disrupts everything.
Yes.
And because it can disrupt your sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I talk about that all the time with the listeners. Stress, 90% of everything that goes wrong in your life, stress is involved. Mismanagement, I should say, of stress, right? Mismanagement of stress.
Right. And that's what it is. It's about stress management. It's about I like to call it stress flow. And it's going to ebb and flow. It's going to go like this. But rather than going up and down, like really sharp, jagged, let it just go flow. So, then here's your median line. Then it's just more up and down over the median line, rather than way up and then dropping way back down. Because then that's just really hard on the body and all the systems and the response. And then because then it starts when it's too often, and that happens over and over and over and over again. And you don't bring the body into that homeostasis, back to that calm. That's where it gets to become chronic stress, which then can help, lead into increasing that inflammation. And then also that impacts too your body's ability when it's with cholesterol and that management and blood sugar and insulin. Then it's just like this cascading effect.
It is. It is. Oh my word. Is this the kind of information that you share with your clients when you're coaching them? Yeah.
Yep. I go through it a lot. We talk because I have modules on optimizing digestion, because that one's huge. But I also talk about the stress, and in almost through every module, stress is mentioned, and sleep, 2 biggest ones, because sleep is so important. It is like I said it's like shampoo for the brain. I think I got that from I want to say I stole it from Sarah Gottfried. Dr. Sarah Gottfried. She's just, and it was amazing. When I heard that, it was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool, because when you're sleeping, your brain shrinks. It kind of, then your gliatic, your lymphatic system, it takes out the toxins, and then it allows the body to do like the garbage trucks to come through and take everything out in this brain. And this is where too, when you're looking at stress, and then also blood sugar. And a lot of people with blood sugar, one thing I'm really fascinated about is because my goal is to live to be 150 years old. I'll maybe accept 149, but my goal is 150. And I think, and I look at people, and I love studying the blue zones. And, they're not going to the gym an hour a day. They're not doing crazy workouts. It's everything in balance, it's part of a lifestyle, and just, treating your body with respect.
Yeah.
And then really what it is, you can't abuse it. And so when it comes nighttime, follow the rise and fall of the sun when you're with your bedtime routines.
Yes.
In the winter, of course, where I'm at now, it's nighttime can come at 5 o'clock in the evening, but that's kind of too early to go to bed. But it's just, shutting down the lights and the blue lights, because that also affects, because when your blood sugar at nighttime, that your leptin and ghrelin that control hunger and satiety, those are reset at night when you're sleeping. Your body doesn't go to sleep. You're sleeping because the physical part of it is just relaxing. Yes. But there's a lot happening. I always like to think of it like the wizard behind on the Wizard of Oz. He's the wizard behind the curtain, and sleep is like everything that's going on, and he's got all those dials, and he's moving around, touching everything, resetting everything. That's exactly what's happening when you're to your body when you're sleeping, in your brain, and what's going on. And so it's just treating it with giving it what it needs, and taking out, removing it. So everybody wants to do more and do more. I like to say, what less can you do? What can we take off your plate?
Ooh.
Because when you're looking at from a perception point of view too, it's easier to say I want to do less. Yeah. So less worry, less spending time with people you don't really want to spend time with. Yeah. Ooh. Setting boundaries, saying no is a sentence. It needs no explanation. Right. And 4 great words to remember: I am not available. That's somebody asks you to do something, just say, I am not available. It sounds like it could be a great opportunity. Oh, it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Yeah. But if it doesn't feed into what your health priorities are, there's nothing wrong with saying, sounds like a great time, but not right now for me. It doesn't fit into my priorities. It's just, I'm not available. That's it. Good. It needs no explanation, but just because respecting your own boundaries and not having that, and then also being not harboring guilt then, because then we say, oh my gosh, I should have done this. But no, you are at the top of your pedestal, because if you aren't well, everybody around you will not be well.
Indeed. That's a great way to look at it too, and to think about it, because I know as a, throw it all on the altar of I'm going to help everybody else person. I think we had this conversation before, but I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. But, just, giving it all, and then, grabbing up whatever I can pick up along the way for myself. That's it's just like the way it is. And no matter what people tell me at this point, because they've seen it and they've tried to adjust, not all, because many people enjoy that you sacrifice yourself for them. But those who see it and realize that it's not working for you, then that's when it's kind of like, hey, can you just not sacrifice yourself today? And, as much as I'll speak for myself, try to not, I always find myself doing it, but slowly, inch by inch by inch, I'm getting a little bit better at saying, you know what? I'm going to take this time to breathe. I'm going to put my rock band on. I'm going to headbang for a little bit, whatever, the things that just, give me the catharsis that I need to keep on going, or to release the frustration or anxiety, or the not depression, but just, sorrow, all of those things, I use those and I use that. But if I don't, I wind up in that same scenario. Yeah.
And it's, we hang on to these emotions, or this guilt, or this feeling that we need to say yes. I always like to think of it this way. By saying no, you might be creating an opportunity for somebody else. So say somebody who's inviting you to a party, maybe to a wedding, and you say, oh, sorry, we're not available. That opens an opportunity for somebody else. It takes the pressure off that person. Now they say, oh my gosh, we can move this person in. Or say someone's inviting you to a pickleball game, and you say, oh, I can't do it. But then somebody in the meantime is really wanting to join the group that who now can join. And it creates opportunity for somebody else. It really does. And so that's where it's respecting your own boundaries. And too, like with that self-care, it doesn't have to say, oh, I'm going to spend a half hour, I take an Epsom salt bath tonight. Oh, I can't do that because I don't have a half hour. It can be done in 1 to 2 minutes bursts. So there's research. I just read some scientific literature on the importance of movement. And they're showing that high intensity bursts done throughout the day can be as effective as doing a 30-minute cardio workout. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. They don't have to be done all at the same time. I actually had a post on it not that long ago. And yeah, Jill, you can improve your health in 3 minutes a day. But it can be done. So if you're in the morning and you're really working through something and it's just like, okay, you can't even think straight, pause, put it away, step away. Because what's happening, you just need to get the blood flowing, and help, and it just triggers the blood flow and increasing it to the brain again. Just step away and march in place, bring your knees real high, put on a favorite song and just kind of just dance and shake yourself around. Yeah. And you think about it, a lot of times kids, you watch them, all of a sudden they're playing, and all of a sudden there's somebody next to them in the group and they're just going like this, and they're just acting, just being really silly, just moving. They're just, they get this energy and they just feel like they move, and they don't care what anybody thinks. That's just it. But it's just those little bursts of activity. So take a break, take a 1 minute break, start there first, do those few things, that small thing for yourself. So yes, you're always going to have the obligations to your children, to family, but even I have a very, very large family, very large family. And I know I can't make it to everything, to every birthday, every graduation, every celebration. And it's protecting my own boundaries. Not that I don't want to be there, but it also means too, then when I'm saying yes to them, I'm saying no to myself. Yeah. And that's really important to always remember. You do have to come first, but yes, you always will have obligations to do. You have to. I mean, that's what's being a grown-up, that there comes those obligations, but you can control those obligations. You can control your what you put on your plate, and there's things you can delegate, especially in the home. There's things that you can delegate, or if the living room and the furniture is not dusted, is anybody going to know or judge you for that? If they come to visit, I would hope that they come to visit you and have for the conversation and the interaction, and not to look around your house and say, oh, ooh, she's got a lot of dust sitting out here. I mean, that's just, if you didn't get to it, that's okay. You will get to it, but just doesn't fit right now. Pick it for a time when you have the 10 minutes to do it. Put on your music and have fun doing it. Because to me, every activity, movement needs to be fun, and pick things you enjoy to do.
Absolutely. I totally agree there, because I was trying to convince myself once again, I don't have a problem with exercising. I just have a problem with exercising, and there's a kind of a difference in the mindset of it. I don't have a problem with, getting out anxious energy or pent up energy by, cycling fast on my bike for a period of time, or, boxing, throwing a few jabs, whatever, for a period of time, or even, steps, high stepping, high knees, high jumps, roping, all of that for a period of time. But all at once, or for a long period of time, then that's exercise.
Right. And that's where, because by feeling we have to do it all, we have to do it and keep doing and keep doing. Sometimes it's better just to step back and just maybe, rather than doing a high intensity workout, maybe what the body needs more than that. If you already had a very stressful day, especially if you have a very physical job, maybe what the body needs more so is a step back and It's like, I wish there was a better term for meditation, because it's such a diluted term. I mean, it's just so known, and people have this really bad perception of what meditation is.
Indeed.
Meditation, it can be movement meditation. It could be walking through nature, being outside, bundling up in the winter, going outside, walking, hearing the snow crunch beneath your feet. That's walking meditation. Or it could be laying on your floor. Like the other morning, I did on Instagram a story, and it was just I put some lilac essential oil in my diffuser, and the smell of lilacs, it was like whoosh, it was immediate flush of a memory, just overwhelming, and I had to lay on the floor just for 3 minutes. And here I am as a little girl running through the hay fields, arms outstretched, head back, looking up into the sky, and smelling the lilacs. There was always there's 2 big lilac shrubs right by the house where I grew up. And there's a hayfield, and just to run through there barefoot and smelling the lilacs. Now, that was so cool. It set the mood for my entire day. Yeah. Taking that 3-minute break was enough. I mean, and those are the little things, and just taking time for yourself. It seems so silly, but we don't do enough of it. We really don't. And because we are so busy and we put so much pressure on ourselves, but some of that pressure, it has to be there, because there's some deadlines and timelines that we have to meet. But are there some that we put on ourselves, that why not, or why wait? And sometimes we wait to do things. That's like kind of my theme for this year. Why wait? You want to do something, try it, do it, and find a way. Because say a lot of times people say, I don't have time. Yeah. And you can't create more time. You can't make time. Oh, I need to make time for that. No. You have to invest your time. So now it's like a bank account. You only have this amount of funds. Yeah. And where are you going to put them? You have to decide where they're going to go. Yeah. Indeed. And hopefully bills get paid first, and mortgage get paid first. I mean, but it's the same thing that goes with time. Where are you going to invest it? Indeed. And so when you just take a simple timesheet, look at throughout your day, where are you spending all your time every hour of the day? Just do it for a couple of days. Yeah. And now have your priorities. Does everything that you're doing feeding into your top 3 priorities? Exactly. And that's where I mean, so social media is great, but you can get sucked into that. You really can. Absolutely. It takes some time. It does. It's a time suck. It's enjoyable. You get connected with people, but it's a time suck also. Yeah. And as much as you want to teach people and put out information so that way people can understand, sometimes there's nothing better than just having a one-on-one conversation, or an eye-to-eye conversation, or on the phone, directly face to face, not with all the other things encumbering the mood, or slowing down the thought processes by popping up while you're trying to just focus. And I think that makes a big difference. And I know that's something that you do. And I know I'm kind of switching up the scene right now. It's because I want to make sure I give you enough time to tell us about your program. And I know you didn't come here to sell your program. I asked you here because I know that your program is so awesome. And for those of people who cannot work with me, or don't find that I'm a great fit, I am not the person to hold anybody back from going to someone else who is qualified. And you are more than qualified. So and that's a great way, because it's the same thing. I meet with a lot of people, and there's sometimes where I am not the best fit for them, and that's okay, because that's why there's thousands of coaches out there, and you have to find the person. Just like with doctors, you go to a doctor, and if you don't like that doctor, you're going to switch to somebody else. You don't keep going to them over and over again and keep paying money for them, because they're not going to. It's just the same thing. So so thank you for that. So I'll kind of give a quick background of why I created this program, is because I myself went through a number of protocols for healing my gut, and also and I know you have to go through supplements you go through and take for a month, but there's also things you have to have under control. Stress is number 1. Sleep, the foundations. I healed my gut. I 3 times, and it wasn't until the 3rd time when I realized and said, okay, Sue, you're wasting money because you're not doing what you need to do. You do it for a bit, but you don't You don't hold true to it. You correct it. And because mine was stress, because I high type A, always on the go. And I was one, I would rather be out, beat myself up in the gym. I love lifting weights. I love the exercise. I love that feeling. Yeah. But it was for me, as I got older, it was not good for me and my hormones. And I had to learn. And it took me a long time to just step back and just say, okay, work on lifestyle. So no matter every protocol you go to, the underlying thing you still have to work on. You still have to work on lifestyle factors. Yes. You know, like same thing with blood glucose, with insulin resistance, with cholesterol. It's always the same factors. It's going to be your sleep. It's going to be good nutrition. It's going to be mindset. It's going to be creating a healthy home and removing toxins. It's all of that. So that's what my program is based on, is all the foundations. And so I will share. Can I share my screen?
I hope you can. I say go for it. I don't think there's any.
So with the program, it's a 10-week program, and it walks you through step by step. And you have access to, once you join the program, you are then a client, you have access to a health portal, and that's where you would access all of the information. So what you're going to see is the health portal, and I'll just give a really brief blush of it and go through it, just so somebody can kind of see what I'm talking about. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's working. Good job.
Okay, perfect. So this is what the person would see when they come into it. This gives you step by step. What's the first thing you do? What's the second thing? You know, how to use this portal. So like here, I can open one up just so you see. So, hey, let's get connected. You're not alone. Woohoo. I have a closed Facebook group. So when you join the program, you're not alone with me. This is a group program. So there's always other people that are in some form or fashion at some point or within the program. They could be in their first week, second week, or they could be finishing up, or they're just doing it again, or they're connecting to this Facebook group. The Facebook group, you're a member for a lifetime. As long as you want to be involved, you have the support. So that's where you get the support of others who've been through it, and you learn from each other. And that's important, because nothing's worse than going through something and feeling like you're all alone. And here you're not alone. And I'm always available, because through this, there's a chat feature as well. But there's the modules. So you go through, here's the steps to get started. Here's like the very, very first step, the program overview. This is week 0. This is before you decide I'm starting. So this is where each module has a video, and it talks about the information. Here's how to rock your reset. So these are all downloadable. You can download this information. You can download some of these documents, and then it goes through. Each module is a little bit different. And then I talk about my morning routine, what I do, because how you set your stage for the morning is how your day will go. And I truly believe in that, and having a routine. What happens when you hit a plateau? If you're feeling hungry, what things to consider. And then there's the nutrition plan, the foods, give you the listing of the foods that you can eat. And you can see it's very extensive. It's not so restrictive. No. And so going through this, and this is where I also then, for each person, I have journals that I ask them to fill out. And so there's always with the journals, but these are the modules themselves. And you can see optimizing sleep, mindset, intermittent fasting. Then there's phases. You go through a loading phase, release phase, and maintenance phase. Most of the weight loss, fat loss happens in that release phase. Then I talk about medicinal mushrooms. I'm really a fan and proponent of them, and I truly believe that they have a definite health benefit for individuals. I talk about creating a healthy home. This is taking toxins out of your home. And the cool thing is each module, so like for this one, creating the healthy home, here's the video. And then, but each module, there's documents that you can download, like I mentioned. But then I also have, it's loading slowly, but this is where talk about, and I give you links. So talk about the things I talk about. I will always link up and give you the resource and the information. But one thing I want to show is within the module, I always include I have a book. So all the modules are put together in one big book, and then it includes the phases, how to work through it, includes the listing of the foods, but it also includes 150 recipes that are in the book. It's printed, it gets sent to you when you join. And so you have the book forever and ever. That's and so, awesome. And then with each module, I also put them here because this Practice Better also has an app. And so it's on your phone, and then you just put everything in, but all the pages for the module for this specific module are right here for your access. So no matter where you're at, you have your phone, you can access the module.
That's awesome.
And so a thing I want to show though then is, as I have a journal. And so I have my log, my journal. So this is what everybody fills out. And you can see I have not added, this is my test person.
Yes.
But you can work, so they enter the food. So they enter the food and you enter your lunch. If you don't want to do the entry, you can just take a picture and upload the picture. What it does, what gives me, then says someone can say, hey, I'm really struggling here. I'm hitting this plateau. I don't know what's going on. I can come into here and see. I can see that on lifestyle. So lifestyle, there's different things. There's entries where they would enter in, you know, how they're feeling. Like we're here talking about mood. How are you feeling when you're eating? Are you stressed? Because that all plays into your digestion.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. That's 100%.
Well, that's kind of just a brief overview. So you have there's 10 modules, but there's also the bonus modules. There's usually 3 or 4 extras. I think that's how many I have right now. I add content to some of these modules here. So people who have joined it initially have access now to the newer content that I've added in. And so they have access to this portal for a year, but a lifetime to the Facebook group. So,
wow.
so then, yeah, so with the program, it's really it's a metabolic and lifestyle reset program. And what the beauty is, actually, I have a web page and I was just reviewing it today and has not been released yet. So I can send it to you. Hopefully I can have it released by tomorrow. So maybe you can include it and send it out. But
exciting.
it's the group page, because right now this is not on my website. And I've been working on this since this program for a very long time and launched it. And I've had some individuals who've had some very successful weight loss. And so to give you a hint, I can give you the link. I think to my Kartra page.
Yes, please.
Want me to put it into the chat? I can put it into the chat.
Awesome.
And then if you have it in the chat, then you could, forward it and send it to individuals. But I can quick show you what it looks like.
Yes,
but
please.
This is not. But it's not what my it's definitely not what my new page looks like, because it looks more like my website. But this is something I created as a landing page right now until my website is completed.
Okay, so, awesome. We do have a little under 10 more minutes.
Okay, so I'm just going to put this into the chat and then we can continue. But,
you guys are getting so many sneak peeks right now at all the awesome things that Sue is doing, and this is just her program that she has in the system. This is not what she's actually doing. I mean, there's so much more. I've seen the work that she has completed and the people who are so excited about what they've accomplished. And it's astounding. And I'm just so excited about that, because I think it's so important that if you find something and someone who can support you 100% and get that thing done, and then also feel self-complete, self-accomplished, that's where it needs to be. Because when you know how to continue on in the way to go after you've left your teacher, your motivator, your mentor, your coach, and you can do it yourself, then we're talking. That's how you know, right?
And it's true, because I give you the tools and the plan. I give you the plan. You have the 10 weeks to practice it. 10 weeks to receive all of the information, but you have a lifetime to practice it. That's your lifestyle. That's how it becomes. You give all the tools and you get the plan. So that book is yours to keep. And so you can repeat it. I had someone who actually did it last year, and she's worked through it and redid it. And she's over 63 pounds lost. Her goal is, yeah. So it's fantastic to see that. And just to know that you have the support. You're not just working through it by yourself. You meet with me 3 times throughout the program. In the beginning, before you start it, in midway, before you transition to the next phase. So we talk about things, and then at the very end. But anytime you have questions in between, there's the chat feature that is within Practice Better, your health portal, that you can contact me saying, hey, I'm feeling this today. I'm struggling here. How can you help me? And so I'm always there. We're talking back and forth, and you have that throughout the entire program. So it's just not you working self-directed through the modules. The modules get released every single week, one new one. But I'm there for you throughout the entire process. And there's also the group chat. So when somebody puts something into the group, when I respond, the entire group sees the responses. So you get all the information. So somebody might be asking questions that you might not think of. And that's why I think it's important, that support.
I think so too. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that many people have not only have not only received that assistance, but they've also seen marker changes. Like, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
I thought so. Has anyone talked to you about, hey, maybe my blood sugar was this or that, and then now it's not, it's this, and
Yeah, I have, one gal who's off of one of her diabetic medications, for her blood sugar medications. I have another was taking meloxicam for she has bone on bone joint pain, but she has not taken it in over a month. She has not needed it. So I'm so excited to hear those are the stories. Weight loss comes secondary. What inflammation is reduced. Others, when you're changing your nutrition, when you're changing your lifestyle factors, other things change first, because the body has to feel safe before it's going to release that weight.
absolutely. Oh, say that again for the kids in the back.
And it's, so thank you for allowing me the opportunity to show it and to showcase it. I know it was very quick, very fast, blush through it. But if has any more, wants to learn more, they can go to my website, daisy.wellness.com, and they can schedule a discovery call, and we can talk more about it. It's like, I want to make sure that it's a good fit for you, and we're a good fit for each other before you sign up.
I love that.
Yeah. You're doing great things, Danielle, with your audience. I mean, the people out there, they're very lucky to have you. You're very passionate. You're about as passionate as I am, because I know you and I can sit and chat for another hour, 2 hours.
Honestly, I love
We've done that.
Yes. I love it so much. I eat it up. I tell people all the time when they're asking, oh, well, what do you do? I'm like, well, for my Clark Kent, but this is what I do for my man,
This has been, I have been in wellness for probably 20 years. And this is really my passion. If I didn't have to work, I would still be doing this, because I truly believe optimal health is within everybody. And sometimes people just get confused by all the noise that's out there. Do this, do that, don't know what to do, because there's a lot out there. But it works for that person, but is it what's going to work for you? Because only you know your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is not the same as the person sitting right next to you. Your lifestyle and what you're thinking, your thoughts, are even not the same as the same people that are living in your same house.
Hello.
So that's where you looking at it, how you have to work through it. And that's where it sometimes you just need that guide, that sage to help, to hold your hand, to kind of carry you through. Halfway through, three-quarters way through, my goal is for you to get me to where you don't need me anymore. You have the skills and you don't need me. That's my goal.
Oh, I love it. Just exuding and offering the opportunity to be independent from health, that you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to be dependent. Oh, I love that DIY moment in your life when you can say, I finally arrived and I've done that thing, and look at me now, and I know what to do if something else occurs. That's it. And
it is true. You become your own advocate, because I wrote down the quote. I have to read, because it's Hippocrates. He wrote it, and he said it. So think of Hippocrates, how many years and years ago it was. But he said, the doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather with cure and prevent disease with nutrition.
Yes.
We don't diagnose, treat, or cure. We don't do that. That's not what we do. We don't heal people. Right. People's bodies healed from within by what you give it. Yeah. And so, but again, you can become your own doctor. And stop that revolving door of going back in and out of the doctor and getting a pill for every ill, because with every pill comes another symptom that you then put another pill to then counter that symptom. Yes. And I don't know if you've seen, I think you and I were talking about the diabetic medication that people are now taking.
Yes.
Wait. Yeah. And what's happening is, because people are buying it and they're able to get it, and they don't have diabetes, those who need it, are now having troubles getting it and access to it,
Yeah.
because you can lose weight by taking this pill, but it doesn't work that easily. Because if you read the fine print on the screen, it says, this, the expected weight, the expected results are followed with a guided nutritional plan and daily exercise. It says it right in the small print. So what's really making that change?
Exactly.
Pharmaceutical, or is it what you are doing already? So why not just start with changing lifestyle factors, working on that first, seeing if that does it, then seeking, because again, if you have really, really high blood sugars, yes, you might need medication at first, but you can still work on lifestyle factors and then slowly bring that medication down and down and down. And maybe for some people can get off of it.
Yes.
I mean, resistant, that's different. That's a whole different stuff.
Yeah.
But
exactly
it's just the simple things we can do, but to really optimize our own health.
Yeah.
And this, and it's just where it's just by changing our environment. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
And how we respond to our environment, that is key. Mindset is key.
Absolutely. Man, Sue, this is exactly what I was talking about. I knew that I would get more than just nuggets from you today. So I'm so glad that I got to. And I'm so glad that you're here because it's made a big difference. I know that it's made a big difference just listening to you, even though I heard you talk about this before, just hearing it and hearing your passion that you have to share with those who are under your tutelage, under your wing, and then guiding them out. That makes such a big difference. And I know that the people who listen to this podcast will also understand how passionate you are about helping people to get from point A to point I'm healthy and I can take care of myself. And that makes a big difference.
There's a quote I like to always say, that given the right circumstance and a realistic timeline, nothing can fix your body better than it can fix itself. I mean, that's a quote that was Sachin Patel. And, I credit him too, with a lot of the work, and his guidance was creating my program that I have. And so I got the framework, but, with what I have the framework, and just to help add that information, like, every time you meet somebody, you have something else to add in. And every time you learn something new, or you say, oh my gosh, that's right. You want to include that because you want to give so much for that person to have, but you also have to have this balance of not overwhelming them, because just giving them just enough what they need. As they go into it, if they want to know more, wait till they ask to get more, because sometimes it can be overwhelming all at once, because there's even just through one video on the module, it's a lot of information. But with that quote, nothing can fix a body better than it can fix itself, is so true, because the body has an innate ability to heal itself. And it's been shown over and over again. When you create the proper environment, when you give it its food, food isn't just to fill you up.
Right.
Where you don't just put stuff in. It's like a car. You put garbage in the tank, with watered down gas, the things get and sputter. Our bodies are the same way. Think of our bodies we're a computer. And what you fuel it is the software. That's the information. And it can only operate as well as the program that it's given. You know what it's like to get a virus.
Yes, indeed.
Everything goes haywire and nothing works well. Well, the body, if you're giving it processed foods and you're giving it the bad oils, those canola and vegetable oils, processed oils, industrial oils. And that's found in all those oils are used in a lot of salad dressings. You might be eating all these healthy salads, but removing all these things, but just choose one thing. Look around your home, get your cleaning products, take one of them. As soon as you use it up, the next time you purchase a healthier product. You're done with your shampoo, finish that one. Now, next bottle you buy something that doesn't have the sulfates, the PBAs in the. So looking at the EWG website as a guide.
Nice.
It's small changes. Everything all at once. Oh my gosh, I have to exercise. I got to do this and I got to do this. No. Say today I'm going to go for a walk for 2 minutes. If it just means, oh no, today I'm going to put my shoes on. And get a mailbox and back. That's the let's start somewhere, but it doesn't start all at one time.
Exactly.
And 6 weeks of my program, there is no exercise other than walking and yoga. And
that's amazing.
That's it. So because bringing that body, calming it down, that's right now, it's probably overstressed. And that's,
Yes.
but yeah, this is where you're doing. I love what you're doing and getting the message out there. I love what you're doing because I think it helps so many people, and and it's only going to help people who are willing to hear it. You can listen.
Yes.
You can listen. You know, a lot of people are listening, are hearing it, but are they truly listening? And
Indeed.
that's taking it and saying, okay, can I do this? Everybody can. And
Yes.
start somewhere. Pick a dot on the page and just start. That's all it takes, is that one tiny step. Because I like to say,
Exactly.
when you're making your goals, make it so simple that it almost feels silly that you can cross it off and count it as a win.
I love that.
Because that gives you the motivation to do the next thing. Oh, that
Yeah.
was easy. I can do that. And all of a sudden they start compounding, and those simple steps all of a sudden start filtering in and become part of, no, it's their lifestyle. Hey, this is pretty cool. And then
Yeah.
you start to feel better, and there's even more motivation, and you keep on going. And so that's why
Yes.
I think it's so important just to start where you're at and make one small change. One small.
Exactly. Yes. I love that. I love that. Absolutely. That is perfect. That's a perfect place to end on. Really, really, really appreciate you being here, Sue.
Thank you for the opportunity. I love to be here.
I just,
I enjoy conversations. Truly.
that's so good because I feel like I'm taking right now, but because I'm eating it up. I am eating it up.
I just want to give you a big hug. You know, so I'm sending my love. You know, sending
Yeah,
the love.
absolutely. I'm sending mine back at you.
I got a better one. There you go.
There you go.
It's like the sign behind me that it was given to me by a friend, because it's just you can see the word create. You're probably seeing it backwards, but it just says, you know, it's interesting because it says never stop learning and be true to who you are, and it gives you just, and it's true, and create the life, create the health that you really want, and you just start somewhere, start small, pick one place, and just go
And just go.
consistently, and don't add something else small until you've done that one thing over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again. Oh, I like that.
It's consistency. That's what consistency is.
Yeah.
Because then it no longer becomes work or something that you have to do. Always, and change that mindset. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to work out.
Yeah.
I get to work out.
Indeed.
Because there are some people who don't even have the ability to stand.
Indeed.
They don't have the ability to walk because they're bedridden.
Yes.
Be grateful. Be gracious for what you have and the abilities that you do have. And if it's hard for you to stand up and exercise, sit in the chair, move the arms, move the legs, just do something small. Start somewhere.
I love it. I love it. Well, y'all, with that being said, I don't think Sue could say it any better than she did, and I know I can't. So we're gonna thank her for being here today, and all of the links, every single one of them, everything I can get my hands on are gonna be down below in the show notes, so that way you can get involved, including her Instagram handle, so that way you can get right to her, as well as her website, so that way you can type in and, you know, schedule yourself a discovery call. Sue was so full of information about cholesterol, and she took you through pathways, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but she took you through pathways, and that's kind of awesome. That's just kind of awesome. You know how I feel about this, so I'll stop gushing. And I'm just going to say thank you so much for joining us here at Type2Take2. Sue, will you say your goodbye?
Thank you, everybody who's watching. And, you know, this is where I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I love spreading this message because I am so passionate about wellness, because I know what my goal is, and who doesn't want to live to be 150? And it's not just living to be 150, it's living to be, it's longevity, but it's also not how long you can live. It's your health span, how long you can live with good health. I want to be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro when I'm 150 years old. I want that. And that's and that's where you can, you know, take care of that body, take care of this temple, and you can't beat it up, and just respect it. And this is where I'm grateful to have this opportunity for you to be here and just chat with you and all of the group. And if you have any questions, go out to my website, book a call. Happy to chat with you and answer any questions that you have. But
awesome.
Danielle, you're wonderful.
Thank you.
Great the information you provide to your audience is fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You know what? Each one reach one. Oh my word. Okay, y'all. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here at Type2Take2. Have a fantastic day. And I know this came out later, but wasn't it worth it? Yes, yes, it was. Bye.